Yeah, and I used to hear, I don't hear this much anymore, but I don't know if you guys are running into this, where people do get afraid to sort of pull back the curtain a little bit, and oh no, people might find out what we're going to ship, a few months before we ship it.
Yeah.
And they get worried, and they don't want to do that testing, they don't want to do that validation, because they just don't want anyone to be able to leak anything. NDA all you want, someone still, 3 people can't keep a secret sort of thing. It can leak, and people get worried about that. How do you guys deal with that when that comes up? Because I'm curious.
It is very dependent. There's people that are releasing updates to features that it's like, they're releasing this new feature, so it's not that risky, right? Companies usually release the features that they're coming out with before they go to market. So if it leaks, it's not the biggest concern. The ones that are scary or people are more hesitant to do are when someone's getting into a new market. So if software company is stepping into this hardware division, they're like, I don't really want to let people know that I'm kind of venturing in this way.
Right.
And there are a lot of best practices to mitigate the leaks and kind of tiptoe around the situation. The big ones are you want to kind of debrand your site. You want to give them a safe space. So you want to give users a safe space as an outlet. When people are experimenting with something new and exciting, you got to give them the voice, because their voice is going to go somewhere. So you got to give them the voice back to you and let them know that we're listening, we're active, we care about what you're saying, and we don't want you to say anything out here. So we do recruitment up front. We let them know, top secret. We get the non-disclosure agreements. We remind them of the non-disclosure agreements. We respond to feedback on a regular basis. We make sure these people are vetted. They provide things like socials and their Twitter profiles and handles and all that stuff to make sure that we can kind of monitor. And then just constant reminders and whatnot. They need the praise and the thanks. That's a big way to kind of keep it down a little bit, like make sure they don't get antsy and want to go out the door. But it's most of the time, I think, based on our research, it tends to be a company that actually leaks the information instead of the testers. It tends to be internal, like it might be from their dog fooding program, or someone that got a little antsy and maybe said something maybe not that intelligent for a second.
Got it.
It's hard to go back on.
Let the cat out of the bag. Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, probably a decade ago, someone had left like a beta hardware version of an iPhone in a cab or something like that. It was like the iPhone 5.
Yeah.
And that's how that leaked out to the...
That's right. I remember that.
So that was like, oh my God. It's like, sometimes it's simply accidental, right? It's like, oh God, I left the beta hardware in the cab. One thing I think is another way to kind of make sure that it doesn't leak, right, is, and this is kind of an endorsement for having a beta program that spans years and possibly decades, is you can build out that community and have that cohort of trusted testers, right? So you can say like, XYZ testers, they've been testing with us for 7 years and they're invested and they really feel like they're a part of the product development. So if you bring them into, it's like, hey, we're entering a new market, or hey, this is a piece of software that's going to introduce all these new features, right? They feel personally responsible if it's like, well, I really don't want to let it leak because they trust me enough to bring me on. I've been a part of this ecosystem. So that's another way to tackle it, right? And we've been talking about community, throughout this whole episode. I think building that strong community and having that cohort of really trusted and invested testers is a great way to say, okay, we can let up a little bit on the anxiety of like, oh, someone's going to leak the feature. We have this amazing group of people who are right here working alongside us to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah,